Hey there guys, my name is Jason and thanks for tuning into my channel Pips-N-Chits. Today I'm going to be unboxing the 2021 smash hit Ark Nova, designed by German designer Matthias Wig and released here in North America by Capstone Games. Now, Ark Nova is a 1 to 4 player game where players are going to be taking on the role of designing a zoo. There is hand management, there is set collection, there is card drafting, there is worker placement, if you will. This takes place on a very large board with one sideboard, and the deck of cards is huge. We're talking over 250 cards. And there's also a variable set of maps. Now, I realize I'm a little late to the game, that is, in opening this up since it has been out for a while. But Gen Con just finished up, and there was some exciting news coming out of Gen Con 2022, is that Capstone Games is releasing a variable map pack for this game to include, I believe, 4 new double-sided maps on this for a total of 8 maps. And they've also labeled it map pack number 1, which leads me to believe that there might be a map pack number 2. Anyway, this is a somewhat heavy game. It definitely falls between intermediate and heavy in its complexity level, but it is very fun. And I'll tell you up front, I've already unboxed this game prior to this introduction recording, and my wife and I have already played it. We both really enjoyed it. We can't believe that we waited this long to actually get the game, and I'm even more excited now to see how the solo mode works and to know that the game is going to be continued to be supported with additional map packs in the future. If I have any gripe at all, is some of the components, which I'll talk about during the unboxing video itself, I think could have done a little lackluster, and that's primarily the money icons, if you will, or the little chits that you're going to be using to represent money. They come in denominations of 1, 5, and 10, and 20, I believe, but they're very simplistic, very lackluster. I'm going to kind of bling it up with some actual poker chips that I got from Roxley Games. And with that all being said, let's go ahead and take it down to the table and get this unboxing underway. Okay, down at the table here we have Ark Nova. Let's go ahead and flip this big bad boy over. And, well, actually, let's go ahead and take the cellophane off first so we get rid of that glare. And we'll go ahead and read the back. In Ark Nova, you will plan and design a modern, scientifically managed zoo, striving to make the most successful zoological establishment. You will build enclosures, accommodate animals, and support conservation projects all over the world. Specialists and unique buildings will help you in achieving this goal. At the heart of Ark Nova are 255 cards featuring animals, specialists, unique enclosures, and conservation projects, each with a particular ability. Use them to increase the appeal and scientific reputation of your zoo and to collect conservation points. Each player has a set of action cards which you will use and upgrade to carry out your plans. And down here we see it's for ages 14 and up, 1 to 4 players, and 90 to 150 minutes. Contents are as 1 central game board, 1 association board, 8 double-sided player mats, 255 playing cards, 129 wooden pieces, and more than 250 cardboard tokens and tiles. So let's go ahead and flip this over and go ahead and open it up. Like the picture here on the front, and of course we have Matthias Wig, I think his name is pronounced, there at the top. Let's go ahead and move the cover off. All right, we have a ton of bags here. That's a lot of bags. So I imagine for the different cardboard components, and stuff that we're going to be punching out in a little bit. We have our 4 colors, primary colors. We have black, red, blue, and yellow, and different shapes. They're predominantly cubes, but there are some little hexagonal shape in here as well, which I imagine are more for the player markers and main board. Let's go ahead and get rid of those off to the side. We have our individual association workers in here in the different colors, 4 a piece, and we have a little coffee token right here. It looks like a coffee cup. I believe this is for your break ability. Pretty nice. You know, I guess when you pay this kind of money, I mean, the cubes are fine, absolutely fine. I might have gone maybe the little bit extra and might have done the clear cubes. I mean, there's probably not big of a difference. You could probably bling this out yourself. I'm thinking like more like the Terraforming Mars type cubes that are kind of the clear acrylic plastic ones. That would have been nice, but I guess it really doesn't matter. Here we have our manual, full color here, and let's see, how many pages do we have? We have 19 pages, a lot of text in here. And mind you, as I said in the introduction, this game is a little crunchy. I don't think it's too hard, but the concepts, probably have to play it a couple times to really get it down. And I know this rule book looks a little daunting here, but once you understand gameplay and see it played on other videos, it kind of makes sense. But it is weighted as a medium to heavy type of game there. Anyway, we'll go ahead and set that aside. We have a glossary page that has a little bit of additional wow, a lot more text than I expected actually here. I guess some examples and some individual sponsor cards going in detail how those individual cards work. We have term definitions here talking about certain keywords that you might find on cards and what that actually means. Again, more of the sponsorship cards here, what they actually do in more detail. On the back here we have final scoring card clarifications and advanced zoo map clarifications. So I imagine that if you went to Board Game Geek as well, you would probably find some additional FAQs or reference rules as well. Let's go ahead and set that aside. We have a double-sided board here. Well, it's not board. Oh, icon overview. So I guess the cards, which we'll see in a minute, very heavy on iconography here. So this is a little cheat sheet to help you, or you can pass around to have people understand what's going on, because there are a lot of icons on here. Okay, next up we have our association board. Now this is one of the boards that you're going to play side by side with here. We're going to be sticking some of our cardboard tokens on here. You're going to be taking some of these wooden meeples, or your associates, when you unlock them, and you will put them there, kind of like a Euro placement type of game. And that will allow you to do unlock special abilities or take advantage of certain things. You're going to have cards that are going to fill up both on the top and the bottom. That's going to be usable by all people, or visible to all people there. I imagine that's your conservation cards and some other aspects of the game that all players will take advantage of. We have our individual map boards. Now, it's my understanding that these are obviously, they're double-sided here. There are a starting map, and then in addition to the starting maps, you will have individual maps as well. Some of these, they're not the same. If we flip these over, see this one says map number 0. And this is more or less the starting map here that you will play, your first few games or friendly games you want to play. But as you get more advanced, you're going to want to choose one of the more advanced ones. This one is the observation tower, and notice that the map layout is going to be different. There's going to be different iconography here of what you're going to unlock over the course of the game. You're going to have different effects down here depending on what you do, and again, changing iconography on these maps. So we have the observation tower. We have one called the outdoor area. We've got a little gate right there. We have one called Silver Lake, which we have a lake more or less prominent there. And again, see some difference of iconography there. We have another map 0, of course, on the other side. We have the commercial harbor map. And we have the park restaurant map, which we have, looks like a restaurant more or less smack in the middle of the game field right there. We have the Research Institute. We have the ice cream parlor and the Hollywood Hills, which looks like we have some little Hollywood Hill signs. And let's just go over this really quick. It says each time you cover an H on the board, reveal cards from the deck and add the first sponsor card to your hand. If you cover all H's, each sponsored card is -1 when played. So if you're able to cover these up during the course of the game, your sponsored cards will become cheaper. Next up is our punch boards. And it looks like we have, of course, these are going to be double-sided. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And of course we have our money tokens, and probably the one complaint that I've seen or read about, and I kind of agree with, is even though this is cardboard and it's pretty standard, thick, there's nothing wrong with it. They could have spent a little bit more time being creative, and I honestly think putting together some better money tokens on there. The 10s, 5s, 1s, and 20s, they're just kind of bland. I get it, but I plan on using poker chips myself. I actually just bought a box of Roxley clay chips from Roxley Games, and when it comes here, I'll share that with you guys. But I think that those chips can be used with a myriad of games. Otherwise, the only other thing, just me personally, visually, I would have liked them to have spent maybe a little bit more time with some of these tokens. The artwork on here to me is a little bland. I get it. It's color coded. That's great. We've got the maps. It's pretty easy to see that that's Africa and that's Europe. That's great. I just think that the kiosks, the pavilions, and these ones are just a little bland in my opinion. I would have liked to have seen something a little bit more creative or blinged out, if you will. Here we have the solo board right here. This is going to be obviously used in a one-player game. We have some different, I wouldn't say objectives, things that you're going to unlock. These will be randomized on the board, which is really nice. So every game that you play could be slightly different. We have some individual or specialized enclosures. Penguins. Looks like we have a slide here, one maybe possibly for a giraffe, one for some kind of, this is a turtle, but I'm sure it could be aquatic stuff. We have a tram. So these are individual, specialized, unique enclosures that you're going to get in the map. I'm going to go ahead and set the cards aside just for a second, and let's take a look at the board itself. I think they did a pretty good job. See if you can see this whole board here. It's pretty big, and it's double-sided. Notice the only difference really is how these cards are laid out. So in a solo game, you might want to have this, facing you. It'd probably be easier to see. There's really no difference on the other board other than you lay the cards more on a horizontal playing field, so it's kind of equitable for everyone to see. I think it's pretty nicely done, but I've read a couple complaints online. I don't know. I haven't really given it one thought or another that the brown might be a little ugly. I don't know. I don't think it should affect gameplay. Brown probably isn't my favorite color either, but I kind of get it. It's got the zoo motif on it, and I don't think it's bad. Maybe if they put like some, if they put a print on the back of it, like animals walking or footprints or something like that, or maybe lighten it up just a little bit. that would have been fine. And then down here we have some trays, which is really great because again, you have a lot of tokens in here, and these trays are, you know, pretty nice. We're going to be using those during gameplay to put all your different enclosures in, your associations, your associates in, your cubes, everything else. That's pretty nice. You got 2 of those. I'm glad to see these. And finally, the cards. And I'm not going to go into all these. I mean, you get it. There's 255 cards. That's pretty meaty. But we'll just go ahead and open up some of the one pack here and kind of display them out. I'm not going to go over each individual card, but just to give you an idea of what the cards look like here. Pretty colorful on the one side, and let's see, looks like actual photography. So these are actual pictures. I don't know if you know, you have to pay royalties or whatnot. I imagine they had to get these from stock photos or hire people to take these pictures or whatever. But anyway, you can see very heavy on the iconography up here. You're going to be what you're going to pay for them, the size of enclosure you're going to have, you know, where you would find them or make things cheaper for you, what type they are, like predators. Of course, I'm opening up, looks like all the cats. Here we have something, we have a sun bear here. You're going to have icons on the left of the side of the card that are going to tell you exactly other requirements. Like you can only play this card if you had your animals were flipped to a number 2. You had upgraded your animal cards, if you will. All kinds of different things. And of course, down here, the appeal on these tickets, each one is going to have a certain amount of appeal. You're going to get the name of the animal, their scientific name, a little bit of lore on them, like this white rhinoceros. I'm not going to try to pronounce the Latin name for it, but it says near threatened, and a keyword and some additional text that might affect gameplay. So again, a lot of different cards in here, and I'm really looking forward to getting this to the table here, especially with the solo mode. But for right now, that was the quick unboxing of Ark Nova. Okay guys, with that unboxing under our belt, I decided to take it back up top and finish off with some final thoughts. As I already mentioned at the beginning of the video or during the unboxing itself, some of the design of the components, I realize there's a lot to punch out there, but I wish they could have invested a little bit more time in the artwork on some of those chits. Especially those partnership tokens, I think are just a little lackluster, as well as some of those money chits. As I mentioned earlier, I'll probably, the next time I play this, I'm going to bring out some really nice poker chips, the Ironclads from Roxley Games. And other than that, game is solid. Don't get discouraged your first playthrough if you miss a couple of minor rules there. There is a lot to keep track of in this game. So I imagine your first playthrough or 2 playthroughs, you know, just have fun with it. The rules will come in time, things will start clicking for you. I also think this game is ripe for an expansion. Not only is it a hit and is currently has been in the top 10, I think, on Board Game Geek, the hotness listing for quite some time now. They just announced at Gen Con that map pack number 1, which leads me to believe that there will be a map pack number, or possibly number 2 sometime in the future, and maybe some additional animals or enclosure expansions. I could totally see some new partnership cards, some new conservation cards, some new unique structures in the future. So hopefully Capstone Games and Matthias follow this up with an expansion later next year, or maybe even this year. But for that, go ahead and we're going to call this video done. If you like what you saw here, or you have any comments or suggestions, go ahead and leave that in the comment section below. And until next time, again, my name is Jason, and I'll see you at the table.